Hello. Excited to connect with you guys today. I wanted to talk about something that has been coming up for me and for you too, I'm sure, which is how we can stay really resilient and in our strength during this time of what's transpiring in our world. I don't even want to say it, but with the coronavirus and all that kind of stuff. And the thing that's really been coming through for me when I've been working with clients is our perception of everything that's happening. So every time, something comes in our reality, we get this opportunity, hey Natalie, hey Krissa, to make a judgment about it. And so during this time, I think there's this opportunity to stay out of judgment. Like, what would it look like, in your life right now, instead of like labeling things of like, this is good or this is bad or this is black or white or whatever, just to be in the energy of what's happening, allowing everything to exist. Because as soon as we compartmentalize something, as soon as we, say, okay, this coronavirus thing is really bad and it's doing this. And yes, of course, I am not denying that this is stirring up so much in the collective. There's a lot of stuff happening. That's not what I'm saying. But if we're able to stay in a place of neutrality, then we're going to be able to stay really present in our body. Because what I'm noticing in my practice right now with my clients, and even with myself, I'm not going to lie, is that everything in the collective right now that is happening is stirring up all the trauma that has been sitting in everybody's energy field for years. So if there's unresolved trauma that's in your field, it's starting to like come up through our lower chakras, and it's going to want to be transmuted, of course. But with all of the stuff that's happening on the planet, it's causing us to go into deep fear mode. So if you think about something, like if you're judging what's happening in the world right now and you're like, this is bad, and like what's going to happen and all this kind of stuff, and we create a story about it, right? Then it's going to like stir up all that stuff that's in your energy field that has not been worked through. So your core wounding, your stuff from your past. And a lot of us have been doing work on our trauma and all that kind of stuff and learning how to stay safe in our bodies. But for those of us who are still working through it, and we all have different layers of it, right? It's just bringing up so much, and then it's causing our bodies to go into deep survival mode. And so when you go into survival mode, right, your brain kicks in, hormones kick in, your biology, chemistry, everything starts happening, and your body starts to contract, and you start to get even like of course, your immunity is going to drop, right? But beyond that, it's just going to cause more fear. So what can we do during a time like this to find our internal reserve of power? We all have it within us. We all have this version of us that is super strong and resilient and can get through things. But in order to do so, in order to access that version of ourselves, that aspect of ourselves, we need to be really centered and grounded. So the thing that's helping me right now that I want to share with you guys, because maybe it'll help you too, is really staying out of, like I said, like creating like a story or future, casting this, like going into the future and saying, oh my gosh, if, this continues this way, then this is going to happen. And we don't know what's going to happen. Do we ever really know what's happening? I mean, this is what we've been, this is kind of like, if we've been like training in our spirituality to handle uncertainty, to learn what it's like to be in contraction and then go into expansion, like this is like, if we've been in the kind of boot camp all these years, like this is like game on, baby. Like this is the time where we like learn how to deal with the adversity, step into our leadership roles, and become a beacon of light for others when they're panicking and freaking out. And giving yourself permission to have your own freak out too sometimes, right? Because that's going to happen. I've had my own. But overall, coming back to the fact that, okay, this is just a bigger version of uncertainty. This is a bigger way that life is showing us that we don't always have control. But what we do have control over is how we're going to react to it, right? And our perspective. And that takes me back to what I was saying earlier, is like just staying out of this like black or white or good or bad. And one of the things I want to propose to you guys is that your relationship to the universe, to the divine, like the divine has not changed. What's happening in the world, right? There's a lot of stuff that's shifting and changing. But if you see the divine as being this abundant, loving force, if you follow my favorite, my favorite is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and you follow his work, and you know that like we're putting out a specific frequency always to the universe, and the universe, the future is going to meet, come back and meet us with that energy. Well, if you believe that source energy, divine, is abundant and loving, that still exists during this time, right? So it's really like this is the time to find that inner reserve of not just strength and courage and resilience where you can flow and move with this energy, but also your faith. Like to really be like, oh gosh, like what is it going to take for me to have faith that even if things are difficult or challenging, that there is going to be good that comes out of us, that there's going to be things that happen and occur that are going to usher in positive changes that need to happen, right? So I just wanted to come on today and just remind you that it's so important to find your inner strength, to find that place above good or bad, right or wrong, which to me, I call that neutrality. And I often find neutrality just through my breath and through breathing and, all of that, getting centered within myself. And then from there, like realizing that I'm always constantly co-creating with the divine, with the universe, and that the universe is abundant and loving, even in times like this, even when things look dark, even when there's a shadow, or like there's a lot of shadow energy, I should say, like there's still so much room for good things to happen, for miracle consciousness. So I just want to pop on and share that with you guys today. However you're feeling, I would love to tune in and check in with you. And just, as a message for those who are in, the coaches, healers, guides like myself that are in this time, this is a time for us to pivot, right? This is a time for us to serve even more than that we even have been, because our frequency and the way we're going to ground ourselves is so important to bring to the world right now. So if you are in these type of services, I hope that you're finding ways to pivot and continue to show up and not feel bad, showing up with your offerings and different ways that you can serve your clients, because your clients need you now more than ever. So anyways, I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. I hope you're taking really good care of yourselves, enjoying this time. For me, I have 2 little kids and I'm just enjoying this time with my family. Even though I'm working, I've had like my little girls like coming into my sessions and interrupting, which is okay though, because it's all about like, this time is like hopefully about, bringing us closer together and being more present. So anyways, I hope that you guys have a beautiful day, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too about, staying strong and really choosing your perspective and flowing with all this that's happening right now. So take care.